Welcome back to Integrative Approaches to Mastering Wellness. This is episode number 7. My name is Tanikella, physician and life coach. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about my childhood and how I came to be who I am today. So I remember walking into the library when I was about 8 years old. And for those of you who didn't know this, I actually loved to read when I was a kid. I loved TV too. Listen, I wasn't perfect. I remember looking at all the books and on the shelves and thinking to myself, one day I'm going to write a book and it's going to be right here. And that book is going to help people. Even if I could just help one person, it would be worth it. So when I look back at my 8-year-old self, I wonder if that was one of the first beliefs that I planted or plans that I planted that have now come into fruition. That line of thinking was what led me to work hard in school, led me to get into medical school, led me to become a physician and to actually serve patients in the clinical setting. It also helped me to learn how to become a really good mentor for medical students and trainees who might be struggling with a lack of confidence or self-esteem or having difficulty being able to assimilate themselves into the system. Going back as well, I think of my teenage self, and I remember looking at marriages and relationships. This was the other piece that was important for me for my life, which is I wanted to be able to have a family. I wanted to be able to get married and have kids. And I really wanted to be conscious of the relationships that I was getting myself into. And so I remember looking at people's relationships and how they interacted and the energy that they gave off. Some of those relationships were beautiful. Some of those relationships were like in the middle. There was some good and some bad. And some of those relationships were downright awful, where there was abuse and domestic violence and just constantly cutting down on one partner or on each other. Obviously, nobody wants that category of relationship. One of the things that became abundantly clear to me as I got older was this could be true for both genders, but what I was seeing a lot of was how women really felt like they had to depend on a man in order to create a life for themselves. I didn't want to fall into that trap. I saw it as a trap. If you feel like you're dependent on your partner to be able to create a life for yourself and for your kids and to provide financial security, then that's just, I just didn't want to depend on somebody else for that. So as a teenager, I told myself that I wanted to be financially secure no matter what the circumstance. Let's say if anything were to happen to my husband or anything were to happen to the relationship that I had, I wanted to make sure that my life was still sustainable and that if I had kids at that time, that they would be totally okay. So that also played into my ideals in terms of the lifestyle that I wanted to create and the career that I wanted to create. And I think that was really huge because now I have these two values. One was that I really wanted to help people, and the other was that I wanted to be financially secure. The third value that came up along the path. And I will just preface it by saying this. I have lots of values. So this is just kind of like a snippet of it. But one of the other values that I had started to develop was I didn't want to be at the whim of anyone else. So when it came to my career, it became important to me that if I wanted to, that I could be my own boss one day. Like, one day I could have my own business and I could be the leader of that business. And so I really honed my leadership skills to be able to establish myself in that realm. So when I think of where I was as a physician in the clinical setting, the people that I impacted were the ones that were directly in the room with me. And so after a while, I started to feel like I can do more. I want to do more. I have a voice, I have influence, I have education, I have expertise, and I want to offer that to the world in a bigger way. And what better way to offer that but through a worldwide presence? So that was another piece of this. I wanted to scale my values to who I want to be, which is someone who can help people no matter where they are in the world, no matter what time it is, and do that in a sustainable way so that they're able to receive what they need, and I'm also able to receive what I need. So this is just a little bit about my origin story. And I just want you to take a moment because every hero has their origin story. So what's yours? What are the values that you had growing up that you wanted to bring into your future self? What have you done so far to bring light to those? And have you been able to do it in such a way that brings you happiness? Do you feel like it's been a rocky road and you've had to sacrifice a lot? Or do you feel like, okay, well, even though I've sacrificed, I'm able to still inherently bring these values to the surface and give them the time and love and attention that I want? What is your story and how have you lived that story? My next question to you is, what do you want to do with your story? How do you want to write the next chapter? Just some food for thought. I hope all of you guys have an amazing day. If you want more information, visit me at imwellmd.com. Talk to you soon.